Hi everyone, welcome to Infinite Women. I'm Allison, and today we're talking about 14th century French noblewoman and pirate Jeanne de Clisson. Known as the Lioness of Brittany, Jeanne turned to piracy to avenge her husband, who the French king had executed for treason. Olivier de Clisson was her third of four husbands, the first having died and the second marriage having been annulled. Together, they had ruled part of Brittany, but following the Breton War of Succession, he was accused of not defending his city vigorously enough, and he was beheaded in 1343. Jeanne was then charged because she had tried to bribe a sergeant to free her husband. Thanks to powerful friends, she avoided the banishment and confiscation of property that she was sentenced with. She then swore vengeance upon the French king Philip VI and the duke who had accused her husband of treason. She sold her estates, raised a fighting force of 400 loyal men, and started attacking. One of her early targets was a castle at Touffou, where the officer in charge recognized her and let her in, at which point her men massacred the entire garrison, save one person. This was a precursor to her practice of leaving only one or a few sailors alive when she attacked ships, so that they could carry word back to the King of France. With the help of the English king and Breton sympathizers, she started building the Black Fleet, outfitting 3 warships painted black with red sails. She named her flagship My Revenge, and started attacking ships in the Bay of Biscay, but soon escalated to hunting down French commerce ships in the English Channel. She's also said to have attacked villages along the Norman coast. At one point, the French were able to sink her flagship, and Jeanne and 2 of her sons were adrift for 5 days, with her son Guillaume dying of exposure, while Jeanne and her other son, Olivier, were eventually rescued and resumed their piracy. All told, she was active for over a decade in her 40s and 50s, from around 1343 to 1356. Jeanne is sometimes referred to as a privateer, meaning that her piracy was sanctioned by the English crown, which was a common practice at the time. Although no official documentation of this exists, she did work with the English, including using her ships to supply their forces. Jeanne remarried for the 4th and final time in the 1350s to one of the English king's deputies, and later settled at the castle of Hennebon on the Brittany coast. Husband and wife died a few weeks apart in 1359, when Jeanne was 59. Join us next time on Infinite Women, and remember, well-behaved women rarely make history.